Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to PC Gamer Girl. My name's Gary. We are playing The Letter today. I just recorded an hour of this, and my computer completely crashed just as I was getting ready to wrap up the video. So we are starting over from here so that you guys don't miss anything. Alright, let's go. In the meantime, I can go around and check the rest of the house. So she just saw Luke from the music room from the last video. All my worries fade when I step into the ballroom. And, well, the whole place is just grand, isn't it? I can see why the Wrights made sure nobody else would take this place from them. Anyone who has it will certainly be the belle of the ball. It's pretty much one great big status symbol. I don't think I can do much of a thorough inspection in this room, so I note it down for later. Moving on to the kitchens, I checked the ventilation and the general fire safety in the kitchen. This bit is important for a place this size. Oh my god, I'm so jumbled now. I would, of course, suggest bringing an actual fire safety inspector over for a more detailed inspection. It wouldn't do to see such beautiful architecture go up in flames, after all. I take measurements of the countertops and cabinets, note down what type of wood they use. What does that sound? Why does it sound like there's water running? They wanted some of these recreated to hide modern appliances. There's a loose floorboard on the farthest corner, and some of the others had scratches, but everything else seems to be in decent shape. My concentration is broken when someone knocks.
You can come in. Door's not locked.
I wait, expecting Mrs. Wright or the butler to come in, but nobody entered. Oh, I hate that sound so much. Instead, there's that knocking again. It's louder and more urgent this time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't lock the thing.
All right. I'm coming. Just hold on.
When I moved to open the door, though, I realized something. The knocking isn't coming from the door, but from somewhere else. Ugh, I hate that noise. The sound of knocking gives me, like, PTSD. It's horrible. I paused for a second, waiting. But the knocking has not ceased. And soon enough, it becomes desperate. The dull thuds from before switching to what seems to be scratching. Desperate and insistent at once, as if grasping for respite.
Is somebody stuck down there? Dick!
Kitty. Where did that come from? How did it even get down there? That put the heart crossway in me, it did. I love cats, but they have no business giving people a fright. For a second there, all those ghastly rumors about this place had come flooding back. Now, peering into the darkness of the open trapdoor gets me thinking. And it gets me curious. Seriously, though, I should really make sure there aren't more surprises from down under. I don't think the Wrights would appreciate it if we find a litter of kittens making a house of the wine cellar. Mr. Wright seemed the type to skin a cat if any of his precious wines were to be contaminated. I'm done with the kitchens, anyway. Going down a flight of stairs while wearing high heels is always a bad idea. Descending into the dark underground only made it worse, but I managed anyhow without any major slip-ups.
These stairs need work, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the wine cellar is in good condition. No water damage from last year's flooding, and apart from the dust and cobwebs that have accumulated, the place will still hold for several more years. Racks and barrels line the walls, making the spacious room look smaller than it is. I'm no expert, but it looks good enough for immediate use without any further additions. Bloody whiskey will have a field day. I think so anyway, until I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. The cat's fault, I'd wager. And it made a downright mess, with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. There's a lot of the stuff for it to have been just a few bottles, though. A whole trail of it flows from the end of the room, and I follow, fully expecting a leaking barrel or a whole upturned sack. God, I cannot read. Instead, it just keeps on going, and it stops in a large puddle at the very back wall.
What a waste of wine. Why is it so sticky, though? Ugh.
I bet it's blood. We have not found this out yet, but I do bet it's blood. It's thick, too, nothing like wine. Of course, it could just be mold.
Maybe it's not wine. Go on, touch it. I dare ya.
Ooh, mysterious blonde girl. Despite it all, I find myself answering. Because it's her voice. Amy LORRAINE. Lovely Amy. Pretty Amy. I can imagine her standing there with me, laughing and pestering me as I did my work in the way only friends can. She was my friend, the only one that I had at St. Sampson's. I was a scholar, the charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down on me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her. Sometimes I wish for the good old days when we were friends. Now she's nothing but a ghost, though I try so hard to get over her. I really, really do. I'm dying to know what happened to this girl.
What am I, 5 years old? Oh, damn it, it's stuck under my shoe.
I double dare you. Hell, I double dog dare you. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's probably wine. What else could it be? Blood?
Don't be ridiculous. Why would there be blood down here?
If I was the joking sort, I would have said it might be the reason why the previous owners sold the place. Maybe the ghost stories are actually true and they wanted to get away from the walls that dripped with ectoplasmic goo and whatever other ghouls haunted about. Doubt it. I hardly believe in any of that voodoo nonsense as it is. But as I stare at the mess at my feet, probably looking like a fool while I'm at it, I notice something strange. It isn't visible unless one is really paying attention, but I can see the red gunk seeping through a crack in the wall.
What's this then?
I worry about structural damage and damage to the foundation. I worry about the wine cellar as the wrong conditions can lend to the deterioration of its contents if temperatures and humidity are not controlled. Up until I see how clean cut the crack is. It runs along the edge of the wall and vertically along it, where a door would be. Pressing my hand against the wall lends credence to the idea as I try to feel wherever it would give way.
Ooh, could it be an adventure then? A secret passage? There must be a hidden switch somewhere. Go look! This is the most interesting thing you've done by far.
If there's a hidden room here, that could certainly explain the discrepancy in the mansion's floor plans. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that there could be hidden rooms and passageways all over the house if I were to follow that logic. And boy, isn't that exciting. This feels like something straight out of a game. Suddenly, she touches my arm and I flinch away in shock. That shouldn't be possible. I understand auditory hallucinations, maybe even visual ones, but that was...
You look surprised. What's wrong?
You? That's not possible. You're...
dead.
Aren't you happy to see a dear old friend, though? I'm hurt, I am.
Creepy.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, isn't it obvious? I've come back for you.
I'm dying to know what happened to this girl.
So that we can be together again.
When she touches me once more, I recoil. What does she mean together again? She's dead.
No! Leave me alone!
Leave you alone? But I just got here.
Turning around, I'm met with the Wright's butler, who looks at me with an indifferent look. And when I look back, LORRAINE is gone.
I wasn't talking to you, just thinking aloud is all.
You should really avoid talking to yourself, Kint. Do more of that and others will think you're insane.
Yes, thank you.
Maybe she's schizophrenic.
Is that all you're here for, or has your master sent you running down here for something?
Oh, no, I am just down here to admire the place. I've not been inside before. I thought I would look around before we return to the city. The car is already running, you see, and I suggest you go back to the foyer, unless you wish to be left behind. It seems you are in good company already, after all, with this house and your imaginary friend.
Wait, we're leaving already? But I haven't finished inspecting the rest of the house.
Be that as it may, there's a sulking man-child up there who wishes to go home. We are all subject to his whims, lest he throw a tantrum.
I can't help but smile at that. He's a strange guy. I still can't imagine how he can work for a guy like Luke Wright, though. I imagine the blonde obviously ain't an easy guy to get along with. Whatever the butler is having to tolerate that, I want 10 of it.
And we wouldn't want any soiled knickers or spilled milk. Why don't you go head on and I'll be right there.
Very well. Do be careful on your way back. I saw some broken glass on the way and it will not do to cut yourself on them.
I will, yeah. Just tell Mr. Wright not to blow a gasket or anything. I'll be just a minute.
Speaking of blowing gaskets, there's something else dangerous here. Whatever's behind that door could pose some problems. Best case scenario, it'd only ruin good stocks of wine. But who knows what's behind that false wall? I'll have to come back to it. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. With no lights, we are only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car and the stars above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Mrs. Wright is busy, eyes up to the stars. And Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes down on the ground. It's the crunch of the grass under my heels that brought their attention to me.
About time. What took you so long? A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
See, business is business and they take time, love.
She was talking to herself in the cellar. Don't let her lie to you.
You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
I glanced back towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there. That curious thing in the wine cellar, which is stuff I'd only read about from horror stories. And her. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a promiscuous young woman enters a house, a haunted house. This is my chance to turn it down, make excuses, say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take care of my old, sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down, but for some obstinate reason I can't. In the same manner I haven't let go of her, the regret that has somehow shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it, even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled on her forehead, it's something I've terribly missed. And now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me sometimes you just simply have to go through with it. Consequences be damned. Story of my life. And well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. At least not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination. You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Oh, who is she? I want to know. Hearing her voice again sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit city proper, I asked to be dropped off and then bid them good night. I thought it best if I didn't stay too long in confined spaces with either Mrs. or Mr. Wright. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Would have, should have. Or would have, shouldn't have, won't. I assured them that my place isn't that far off, and I have to fight out the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. God. So gross. But even in my own home, peace is as elusive as sleep. I lie awake thinking of what I saw in that mansion, of who I saw. If I so much as hear a single whisper from her, if I so much as see a wisp of her hair, I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens, and if it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights I've had trouble sleeping, but it's only one morning when fatigue has already let me rest that I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. October 26th, Wednesday! In my restless dreams, I see that mirror. The one in the study. And in it, I see her. I see them. Lorraine and Hannah. Hannah and Lorraine.
Poor pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work.
They look exactly the same. Like, they look like twins.
She'll work herself to death. See, she doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk among themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, to themselves, 2 heads, 1 body. A horrible mockery of these women, as if they were the one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it. Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it was true often enough. Even with this bizarre sight, even with the obvious implication that this isn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead. Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Though they speak into each other's ear, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots, worming their way into my skull. It's only then that they take notice of my presence. Why do they look so similar, and are they related is what I want to know. And who the hell is Lorraine? This is killing me. Eyes turn towards me, and I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etched on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite, unless you ask, that is.
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
My breath hitches and I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me, screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across the surface.
Do not lie. We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
They look livid. And when it looks like they would lunge, I wake, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. She's the overlady of the cats, queen of despair and destruction of nice furniture. Though I can't say mad at Her Majesty, because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare, but I can't even remember what it was about. Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthio. Who's the good kitty?
Kitty, kitty, kitty.
Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
A content purr comes from her, my sweet dear, before she jumps off the bed and trots toward the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving into the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork is officially done yet, but it's too far-fetched to think they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them will always find a way to get what they want, after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party.
Black Cat Day. Is that a real thing?
But only if you behave like a proper lady.
She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. You could have been a vet. I mean, the place is already busy as soon as I get here. The foreman, one that I've recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with the bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful, and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest. He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
She stops, looking up at the upper landing where Mr. Wright comes through with two other movers and the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it. If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out to full store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see our reflection in the bloody thing. That's the mirror from my dream. Mrs. Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's antics as they take the mirror out of here. He's back at it again soon enough, pointing the men here and there. I'd say he's the man with the plan, but it sort of interferes with the layout and design that we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out, but...
It's better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That way you do not get blamed for his actions. It is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told you so, once he slips up.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss unless what he changes is actually crucial.
It happens often enough, when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
Up, higher. Come on now.
Still, he could at least be less pushy about things.
Careful now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It's surprising how hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. Well, the both of them are, actually. It's refreshing to have them participate, despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma. No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
He really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Mrs. Wright and the butler look like they're used to it by now. But the rest of us, well...
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let your Hans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
There's an obvious sense of relief as Mrs. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. It's a good thing the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss, or there will be trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
Miss Mutter.
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, he is that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie. A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
Sounds about right. That gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes instructing the movers where they should be and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. It goes off without a hitch, and the man is helpful, efficient, and capable with physical labor, despite his clean-cut appearance. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes from me when he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing. Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
The bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
Why even bring a box of pots and knives to the attic? The man's ridiculous. There's probably no point in making sense of what he does. He just does them because he can. At least it turns out that I don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover, probably on Mrs. Wright's orders, left the box on the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
I managed to hoist it up without too much effort. But the time it takes for me to do that is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could never in my life imagine coming from a couple like the Wrights.
Well, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True. Dogs are infinitely superior here, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess. I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better.
For once, I'll have to agree with Whiskey on this one, though I can live with Mrs. Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really couldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on the job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possible soundproofing certain rooms. Perhaps bringing it up if they don't realize the lack of it. I really should. Let's move on. Because the last time I listened in on it and she overheard them talking about kids and it was kind of boring. No matter how bizarre their conversation might get, I really must go. Not to mention just standing here when I have no more reason to loiter just feels wrong. Besides, the magic word here is privacy, and I respect that. Keep it in mind, I won't have a guilty conscience filled to the brim with the secrets of the rich and famous in my hands. I'd take the stairs 2 steps at a time if I wasn't in danger of getting stabbed by my baggage and if nobody else was in the foyer. But as Johannes takes the box from me, I only give him a small smile. There's no reason to gossip about the peculiar conversation of his employers. He's probably heard much odder things from them, and he doesn't seem to be a cat or dog person either. As soon as I follow him into the kitchen, he raises a hand to stop me.
Nine, I know you are a very skilled architect, and I have seen your work. But this shall be my kitchen, and I shall fix it according to my wishes. Yeah?
That would be great for me. I would love that.
Kind of weird anyone would think that pots and knives are supposed to go anywhere but the kitchen, huh?
I assume he's gotten them confused. It wouldn't be the first time.
Confused? How does that even work? I understand covers, carpets, or even curtains getting mixed up. Hey, I'd even understand pots being mixed up with silver decor. But knives?
Oh, he has a collection of ornamental ones from his father. It takes them everywhere he goes, wherever he moves.
Interesting.
I guess that makes sense. A bit. Still odd.
He merely shrugs before going back to work. The movers work efficiently, even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes standing in the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go help out every now and then. But they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do so. Nevertheless, all is well as the butler gets to heating up the leftover bubble and squeak from breakfast and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. Most likely simple in comparison to what he serves the Wrights, but well done nonetheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
It's an idle observation more than anything. My thoughts as they are preoccupy me.
If there are any left, one can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them, even my husband, and he's American.
I hate fish. I will not eat fish if you pay me. I will eat seafood, like I love clams and mussels and scallops and that kind of stuff. But if it swims, no. I really do hate getting so up and close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It is obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard, what I learned about the Wright couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction. They creep up and fester, crawl and writhe in a way that twists. I hear giggling, delighted and mocking. They creep up and the sensation of fingers ghosting briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder. It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
But it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again. Ever.
I don't like being scared, though I don't believe in the likes of spooks. Being startled is not something on the top of the list of things Marianne likes. Lucky for him, I have nothing within reach, or he would have gotten on friendly terms with something like a rolling pin.
What was with that reaction? Were you really scared? Has Johannes been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people. Isn't that right, Brother Gurium?
The butler's expression is unreadable. I hardly see any emotion on his face to begin with since he started working for the Wrights, aside from the vague amusement. There must have been something there, though, judging from Mr. Wright's own content look. The expression on Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel. But neither of them spoke, even as Johannes leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch.
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
I was just thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children. Timmy, Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place being haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. Hearing, let alone seeing, a dead person isn't exactly the symptoms of a healthy mind. Sure, it means there would be such things such as ghouls and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, there would actually be a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright, you haven't noticed anything weird here?
A simple enough question on the surface, yet I notice the man stiffen as the question leaves my mouth. I wouldn't have noticed it if I wasn't watching his reaction intently, but in his eyes I see something dangerous.
That depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted? Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
A dead teenager would technically qualify as strange. But yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going to go over well.
None that I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anything, anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
Okay, calm yourself, son.
I think that goes without saying.
The concern he has on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant, smug smirk returns, if a bit subdued. Whatever smarmy remark or innuendo he has at the ready never comes through, though, as voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job.
It's Zach!
It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume. As always, Mrs. Wright talks in such a kind and cheery fashion, no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer, too. Hearing them, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least if his small scowl is anything to go by. Why does he care? Like, that's what I want to know, is why does he care so much? Try to lighten the mood.
You're not gonna go out there and join Mrs. Wright? You're starting to look strained. If you want your picture taken so badly, I'm sure the photographer would oblige.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
We need to get you away from the butler. You're starting to sound like him. No, I'm not joining Hana for an interior design magazine photo. What am I, a piece of furniture? Look, did a lot of you have anything else crucial to do today? Marianne.
There are still some little things to do. It isn't the end of the day yet.
Yes, but you're paid hourly, aren't you? Per day? Really, I don't care. You and the others can just take off for the day.
Why is he dismissing us early all of a sudden? Is this about the possible security threat? Did my question get him all wary and paranoid that he would just send the workers and I away? I realize that threats are actual concern to these rich and powerful people. I imagine whether anyone wants to or not, they get a few enemies here and there. But I'm sure the foreman and his works can be trusted and are of no threat. Well, at least I trust the people I'm working with. I understand if he doesn't. He doesn't know them from a can of paint. Still, won't it be safer if there are people around who can watch their back?
You're the boss. My being paid by the day aside, I won't be held responsible for any significant delay caused by your decisions. I'll try to get around that, of course, but I'll just remind you of the fact.
Whatever, take forever with the house. I don't give a bloody damn. Don't you worry, you're still getting your money. Just sod off, go crawl around a pub and find yourself a good lay.
Ooh, burn! Paranoid or aggravated as he might be, this conversation certainly didn't have to warrant that sort of remark.
Maybe I will.
Damn! Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Mrs. Wright and the photographer are still far too busy in the conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the foyer has me stumble upon the family butler once more, who raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. My ride back to the city doesn't take too long to get here. Granted, there were some difficulties at first because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde mansion is. He tried to have us hand over GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other technobabble I didn't care about, and the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him it's the haunted mansion over in Anselm Village, he knew just the place. And finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about that place giving him the willies. It gives me the willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly, more than my exasperation over whiskey and this project or wanting all of it to stop. There's been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Searching for her. I don't know what that means. Loose ends. Fucking nobody loose ends. Bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I've already moved past this years ago. And it does nothing to help me curb my frustration. If anything at all ensures that I want a stiff drink. And where else do I go to drink? You're going to the pub again. Good lord, girl. Tuesdays are for karaoke and Wednesdays, improv. Oh no. Usually it's these four guys who do hilarious games. The one with Irish drinking songs that are always a crowd favorite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing. And without Cam or Haruna around, any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more this time. And when there's several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing.
Hey! G!
Wow.
G, come over here. I need you for something.
Oh god, this poor girl. It's a good thing that the bartender is a nice fellow. I'd probably have been kicked out of other places by now, or worse. If push comes to shove, all he would do is give me an easy smile and a shake of his head, even when he's attending to other customers. Just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
He's some Asian guy. And I'm pretty sure I've seen him before a couple of times, although he never talks to anyone else except G. The girls used to be all over him too, but he's always turned them away. It's Ashton, isn't it?
I'll be here.
It is!
You go do that before she falls over.
I knew it!
Alright. What is it? Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine.
Cut her off.
I think that's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
A whine comes from the back of my throat as he pulls my bottle away. I have no hope of getting them back once they're behind the counter. Even in my drunken mind, I don't dare hop over for them. Because what little sense I have left knows I'd sooner take a floor dive than succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. But that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out with my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head just like I know he would, before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
With no drink and no one really to chat with, I would have gone home or gone to sleep on the bar right there and then. But I'm not ready to stand up and try to trek back home just yet.
Same old, same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati. So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of dealing dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
Talk would have interested me, would have kept my attention if I gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two shits about the things going on around me. All these words are just buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds that is the pub. And it would have stayed that way. Perhaps even drowned if I didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy.
Oh no.
And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact.
Oh boy.
Great tipper. If you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping, why are you asking? He dirty?
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Oh boy. Luke Wright. Whiskey. Even without him around, I'm still hearing about the guy. What the fuck? Despite this, I find myself getting up and sauntering over to join them before I pipe up.
Is this smart talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
Private conversation here, lady.
You tell her, Ashton. There's only amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look tricked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes. She's clean. And she might be able to help you with your...
Oh, no.
Predicament.
Of course. A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need. Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work. Especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11". Can't miss me.
5'11".
Unlike Shorty over here. What's with that mad look? You
Girl,
want to dance,
tall.
boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
To add insult to injury, I move directly behind him and use the top of his head as an armrest. Oh my god. But when he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet. We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of ya. But you're still standing after all that, are ya? Matt, you see this giantess? She's a legendary
giantess.
regular here. Been drinking like there's no tomorrow. I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too. Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy, aren't you? You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne
Ew.
I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that rhymes.
Not really.
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke Wright, right?
Or something. Can't really talk about it. I don't even know if I can trust you, even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions then?
Oh god.
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking.
I like how it like...
How dare that sleazy wanker treat me like I'm a piece of furniture?
I like how Ashton's name in this dialogue has changed from Asian Joe to Holmes.
And by wanker, you mean Luke Wright.
Yes, Luke Wright. I just said that. Is Kultona Kranthe. Completely different from his pretty wife.
Hannah.
Annie? Hannah? Anna! I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing something dirty behind her back. Even bought him a mansion. Lucky bastard.
So it was the wife who bought the place.
Are you going to repeat everything I say? Yes, it was the pretty one. The one with the long hair. She bought the place. Sort of.
With how drunk you are, I don't even know if you're aware or sure of what you're saying.
Excuse you? I am at least 350,000% sure that I know what I am saying. I am a professional. I'm totally sure of what I'm saying.
This is embarrassing.
Do you think just because I'm drunk I don't remember facts? I remember everything. I remember every little thing as if it only happened yesterday. I bet you don't remember Young McGurn's full name. Of course you don't.
Who's Young
Here
McGurn?
we go. John William, pure mad, mental inte, your body, Simpson Clay, Gimel Chip, the Bam, Rib Racker, no real young rebel, ya best Saint John McGurn.
What?
See? I have a photographic memory. Or read memory. I don't remember which is
Okay,
which.
can we wrap this up? Because Marianne's getting intolerable now.
Back to the wanker. Nothing off about him or anything? Nothing shady that sets the alarm bells in your head?
Alarm bells? Nothing ringing. Maybe someone's mobile is. I'm getting tired. Enough for me to press my cheek against the cool countertop with my eyes shut tight. eventually cracking one open, just in case they thought I fell asleep. I grin at Holmes.
Aside from being a sleazy piece of shit, he did get all in a tizzy whenever something about security came up.
Makes sense. I don't blame the guy. Place that big, you'll need a couple dozen people stationed around if you want to make sure nobody you don't want gets in. And the guy seems like the type that doesn't like too many people.
Oh, but he does like the ladies. I don't think his mummy hugged him enough or anything.
That's what Johan said.
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G. She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk. This'll be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me. Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit.
The wave of despair that comes over the both of them is palpable. If feelings had a taste, they would be bitterer than the beer I'm full of. And it gets me thinking, though thinking doesn't get me far with too much shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something. As ocht day! No wonder Mr. Right likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke. Maybe that Santos girl is really onto something,
man.
Suspicious shite, I'm telling you. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders and everything starts to spin. I quickly slap his hands away the best I can and send him the foulest look I can muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me upchucking on your pretty hair. But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from VRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails. And we thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that. You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey, that's Luke fucking right, you get me? And the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere. When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I?
Oh my god, can we please move on from this because she's driving me crazy.
Anyway, just like I said, in that man... Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
And he really is pale, paler than before at least. I can see the gears turning in his head on overtime. Suddenly, he shoves a card in my hand. On it, his name Ashton Frey and his number. But he has second thoughts as he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady. But listen to me. If something comes up, don't do anything rash. If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible. You understand me? That's 99...
I know what the damn emergency number is.
Right, 999. Good. Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
The guy is quick on his feet, already up and at him as soon as the numbers leave his lips. Watching him as he maneuvers through the crowd of other pubgoers is going to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile, and that's all we get before he's gone, just like that.
Oi, what about your drink, boy? I'll go put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I'll put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
Mumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze off on the spot, face pressed on the counter. Already I dread the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position. But when you gotta go, you gotta go. Oh no, they're back.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie? Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Not that I can get much sleep to begin with. Okay, guys, we are gonna leave it here. I think it's been about an hour, maybe a little less than that. This game is really good, but I really wish it would move along. Like, I really want to get to Ashton's part. I think he's the only one we haven't really played. But anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below and hit the subscription bell and subscribe to my channel. That would be super awesome. And you can follow me on Twitter at PCGamerGirl, and you can definitely follow me on Twitch at PCGamerGirlYT is the Twitch name. So I will see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.